And then who owns those air rights? If we have an OEI here today, and now we're saying, okay, you can go up now this much higher, does the public own those air rights? And so are we giving the developer air rights? Are we giving them a public asset for no charge? And so those questions haven't really been addressed yet. So that's my biggest concern is there's still a lot of stuff we don't know.
Yeah, we don't own those air rights either.
Who does?
It's basically, the FAA has
So the federal
responsibility
government?
of the airspace. We don't own those air rights unless we buy them.
But we're restricting a private developer today from having them. So
They're doing it, we're not restricting, we're working in cooperation with the development community.
well, they could build beyond OEI today.
They
Is what
could,
you're saying?
they submitted, and the FAA did. The city's guidelines is they have to submit to the FAA responds back to that submittal. And if that submittal, if their response back through the obstruction survey says you can penetrate this, but obstruct it, or it's obstruction, put a light on it and marking, or if they go up to the chirps and interfere with the chirps, they will send a letter saying you only can build to this height because of, and they'll state their reasons. And that letter goes to city planning, and city planning has been incorporated into their planning reviews that essentially gets in the whole development process that goes to the planning commission and the ultimate city council.
So now I'm really confused.
No, it's a
Is
very
anyone else confused or is it just
It's
me?
a very confusing process, but we don't own the air rights unless we buy them or we get a navigation easement
So
through
you're
a
saying the
development
developer
process.
still owns the air rights then?
But the FAA is responsible for all the airspace.
But if you can buy them, you're buying them from somebody, so somebody must own them. I think is the confusing part.
Yeah,
right?
who owns those air rights?
It would be the person who owns the property who wants to make that development.
So I'll answer it slightly differently. So if we were to allow the heights to be raised of the buildings within, let's say there's a building that's already built right in downtown right now. Because this decision we make may allow a few extra feet, right, within some of the buildings downtown, maybe even 30 feet, right, in certain places. A building that is currently there wouldn't just be able to build another couple floors, which is highly unlikely anyways, and they're already built. But let's say they want to do some sort of neat articulation, like some light towers up on top. They wouldn't be able to do that without getting council approval, or without getting approval of our planning department, right? Our planning director, potentially, if it didn't go to a full council, was at least go to a director's hearing and say, can you do this? Are you in accordance with this? And what the council is saying right now is that we actually would like to have a value capture of the feet that we are actually allowing to add now, because you're right.
So effectively you're selling the rights.
Effectively we would say, if you come in, we have just made a decision that you can go up another 30 to 150 feet. But there's a value to that, obviously, right? There's a value to that company to be able to do that. So we want to attach a value to it as well, to say, what is going to be the community benefit for us to allow you, because we still have the permitting rights, right? We still have the ability to approve or deny an actual development coming in. So that's where we'll have an opportunity to do that. And that, I don't know if you recall, but
Jeffrey Buchanan.
yeah, he came up and spoke about it, and then my colleague Maya Esparza sort of mentioned it and said as well. Said, well, that's sort of what. That's where that conversation is going, and absolutely, we want to be able to capture the value. We wouldn't have to, and I would say there's probably some people on my council that are going to say, just let them build it, right? Like once we raise the heights, just let somebody build up into their allowable heights without sort of any value capture on that increase. I'm not on that side. I'm on the side of, if we're going to allow them to increase the heights, then we should capture some value from it. I would agree with you as well. We're not going to get 100% of these buildings to go all to the height. We want some articulation, right? So I agree with you on that, and I think my comments that I made at the committee too were, my decision is not based off of the economic model that says we're going to achieve 100% of the potential, because we don't even want to, right? We want nice articulation.
But that's the way it's modeled in
yeah,
the report, right? That's my issue.
I think the report is looking at it as, here's the capacity, right? And so we're going to tell you, this is what it could go to, right? And here's what it currently. And it's going to go somewhere in that, in between that. For me, right, the decision is not, it's if we hit 100% of capacity, we get this much economic value out of it. I know that we're not going to do that, so I'm not basing my decision at least on that, and I would agree with you, right? Your analysis is right. That's where we're not going to hit 100%. So the potential, but the potential value is correct. The realistic value that we're going to capture is low.
Yeah, and that's my concern.
Yeah.
Is if the economic loss to the airport is greater, or as much as we see, could we be in the negative territory? Especially if you get one building built, but then not others.
No, yeah. Which I think that's not realistic either, right? I think the reality is already we know Google's going to want to, tap out with a couple of their buildings, right? And we're going to see. So I think the reality is we're going to see a nice mix. We're not going to see 100%. So by any means.